Morning YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. This is IMAX Sports with another football video. So today's video is about the NFL 100. They've been releasing the first players to be added to the NFL 100 this year over the past couple of days. They released number 71 through 100 on Sunday, and then yesterday they released number 41 through 70. So they'll probably, they'll continue releasing them tonight, tomorrow night, and the night after. I'm not sure how many they'll be releasing per day, or how many days they'll even be doing it over the course of. But right now there are 60 that are released, and I was going to go through some interesting things about them, and predict who I thought the top 40 was going to be, and in what order. So if you're interested in football content such as this, then please drop a like down below, comment who you think should be in the top 40, and what players on here that I mentioned today, or that are in the 41 through 100 that aren't mentioned, do you think should be higher or lower than they are. So to start off the video, I made some notable mentions of players that took big dips down from last season. These players were any players that were in at least 20 points higher last year, 20 places higher last year than they are this year. So we have Jason Kelce, who dropped 22 places, Davante Adams, who dropped 22 places, Darius Leonard, who dropped 24, Calais Campbell dropped 25, Tyron Smith dropped 26, Jalen Smith dropped 27, Alvin Kamara dropped 28, Myles Garrett dropped 31, J.J. Watt dropped 33 points, Odell Beckham Jr. dropped 36 points, Keenan Allen dropped 39 places, Zach Ertz dropped 45, Fletcher Cox also dropped 45, and Todd Gurley, the biggest of them all, dropped 46 points, 46 positions. Now, there will probably be a couple of players in the top 40 that drop 20 places, but there will be a very slim margin for that. So Todd Gurley, Fletcher Cox, and Zach Ertz are guaranteed to be the three biggest drops of any players in the league, but it's still very impressive to be in the top 100. Some reasons why a lot of these players have dropped. If you look at the offensive players, Davante Adams' total production went significantly down from last season. Todd Gurley, total production also went down quite a bit. He still ended up with 14 touchdowns. So considering that he still ended up with 14 touchdowns, even though his season was less than last year, is incredible. He had 21 touchdowns last year. So dropping from 21 to 14, he ended up dropping from 5th place to 51st place. But overall, Todd Gurley still had a pretty solid season and will still be a solid running back this year. Zach Ertz dropped from rank 40 to rank 85. That was also because he just had significantly less production, but it's because the team had positions elsewhere that were filling the gaps. He also missed a game, so the extra statistics, the extra 2 touchdowns and the extra 100 yards or whatever, they wouldn't have all been filled up by that one game. He was injured for a game, and he probably was injured for he probably went out of a different game, so he probably stayed pretty much the same. But I think that there was a lot of players that the NFL players themselves. That's the cool thing about this. The NFL 100 is completely player run. The players vote on other players that they want to see in the 100. So Zach Ertz dropping is probably because there's a lot of new young talent that they thought was more mentionable and more noticeable than Zach Ertz, who's been around for 7 years. Keenan Allen dropped, which I am not surprised about. I've never been a huge Keenan Allen fan. I know that a lot of people think that he's the best wide receiver in the league. So, Keenan Allen has never been my favorite player in the NFL. I think that he is a very solid wide receiver, but I think that he has very up and down games and very up and down years. So I think that he's not a consistent enough player, and I've never really been a huge fan of his, based off of fantasy football, but and different experiences that I've had. But it's all player based, so that's why I love looking at these, because the players who are playing against these other guys know how good they are. They know how good they are compared to the other players better than any of us can say. And I think another one that I'm not surprised has dropped is Odell. Ever since he got injured and left the Giants, he has not been Odell. And if he continues not to be Odell, then he'll drop out of the top 100 in the next couple of seasons. But he had some amazing seasons at the beginning of his career with Eli Manning on the Giants. But over the last couple of seasons, he's dropped away from what he used to be. J.J. Watt was another huge dip from last year. He dropped from 12th to 45th. Not as big as a dip as Todd Gurley, but he still dropped from a top 10 player to a number 45 player. And I think that his brother, TJ, is going to take his place. Not his exact place, but TJ will be up there. He'll be in the top 15 or 20. Other notable mentions on here. Calais Campbell dropped a bit. But yeah, that's about it for all the players that dipped a lot. So these are the teams with the most appearances so far. The Ravens have 6. The Cowboys have 5. The Eagles have 5. The Packers have 4. The Saints have 4. The Vikings have 3. The Browns have 3. And the Bills have 3. So these are all the teams that have the most NFL Top 100 appearances so far. I put 3 as the cutoff because in the entire 100, each team should have 3 players, and all of these teams have 3 or more in the first half. So it'll be interesting to see which teams end up getting 6, 7, 8 players in the NFL 100, or which teams, like if the Vikings or the Browns, stay at 3. I think, well, of course the Vikings are going to get Dalvin Cook in there, but it'll be interesting to see how the whole thing unfolds and what teams are most dominant based off of the NFL 100 and the players' opinions. Now, I know that having the most players in the NFL 100 doesn't mean that you're the most dominant team, but it's a pretty decent indicator, and it would be interesting to watch. Now, Jadeveon Clowney is my next point of interest because he was ranked number 41. Last year, he was traded from the Texans to the Seahawks. His 1-year deal with the Seahawks is up, and he's a free agent. And it sounds like, now the second picture is not Jadeveon Clowney, that's Cam Jordan. But it sounds like he will be going to the Saints. Michael Thomas sounds very enthusiastic about the Saints picking up Jadeveon Clowney, and it'll be interesting to see where he ends up going. He said he will sign with a team before the season starts. So no matter what team he ends up going to, he will be signing before the season starts. He was one of the players that was having issues with money and getting a contract last year as well. So it's interesting that this is the second year in a row that this is happening with him. But if he does end up going to the Saints, then the Saints will be a force to be reckoned with. They have been for the past number of years, and if they get Jadeveon Clowney, then they'll become even more so. Now, last but not least, we have my top 40. So I took all of the players in the league that weren't, well, not all the players in the league, but I took all the players that I considered to be top 40 talent. I think I started with 45 players, and I cut it down from 45 to 40, and then I put them in order from 1 through 40 and I'm going to see what percentage of the top 40 I get of the players in general. I think that out of the total of the top 40, I think I'm going to have 35 of them. That's my prediction. And I think that my rankings, so I'm going to go with plus or minus 3. Okay, so if I'm plus or minus 3 on a player, then I'm going to consider myself to have gotten that player correct. I think that I'm going to get 15 players correct, and I think that 35 of the players in the top 40 are going to be on my list. So let's begin. So I start with Lamar Jackson. He is the league MVP, and I believe he's going to be number 1 on the NFL 100. Number 2, I have Stephon Gilmore. He was the Defensive Player of the Year. I was going to put him at 3 or 4, but he had such a good season last year. He had 20 passes defended. He had not the most, but he had 20 passes defended. He had 6 interceptions. Actually, I think he led the league in both of those. But he had an incredible season last year, so I put him at number 2. Christian McCaffrey, of course, was number 3. He had an incredible season as well. Patrick Mahomes is number 4. He won the Super Bowl. His stats weren't as good as Lamar's, but he did win the Super Bowl, so I kept him at number 4. Michael Thomas, I put at number 5. Russell Wilson, I put at number 6. I think that I do have too many quarterbacks in the top 10. I think that Mahomes should be closer to 7 or 8, and Russell Wilson should be in the 11 through 20. But I think that Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, and Lamar Jackson are so much better than the other quarterbacks that they need to be a little bit higher. And then I have Chandler Jones at number 7 because Chandler Jones has always had incredible years, year after year. But this year especially, he had some exceptional statistics. He had 19 total sacks. He also had, 8 forced fumbles. He had 19 sacks, 8 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, and 5 passes defended. Chandler Jones is number 7. Number 8 is Hopkins, who is going to the Cardinals, and I think is going to have a great season with Kyler Murray. Number 9 is Travis Kelce. Number 10 is Bobby Wagner. Number 11 is Derrick Henry. Number 12, I think Derrick Henry is going to take the Titans very far this season. Number 12 is Drew Brees. Number 13 is Luke Kuechly. Number 14 is Tyreek Hill, the fastest player in the league, the Olympic sprinter if he didn't play football. Number 5 is Saquon Barkley. Number 6 is Julio Jones. Number 7 is Khalil Mack. Number 8 is Ezekiel Elliott. I did notice I have a lot of running backs in this second section. I said I said Saquon Barkley instead of Shaq Barrett. Sorry, Shaq Barrett. Shaq Barrett is number 15. Saquon Barkley is number 33. So Khalil Mack was 17. Elliott was 18. Deshaun Watson is my next quarterback. I almost switched Deshaun Watson and Drew Brees, but Deshaun Watson didn't go very far in the playoffs, so I thought that he would be closer to 20 than closer to 10. And then I have Cam Jordan, who was displayed on a previous slide. I put Aaron Donald at 21 because he did regress, and I think that the players are going to lower him because there's so much more new talent that appeared last season that we hadn't seen before. Like, we'd seen Michael Thomas before, but not at that extent. We'd seen Christian McCaffrey, but not at that extent. We'd seen Stephon Gilmore, but not at that extent. Same with Derrick Henry. Same with Shaq Barrett. I think I do have Shaq Barrett too high. He had an amazing season last year, but I think that the players themselves are going to put him in the mid-20s. So after Aaron Donald, I have George Kittle, and then Dalvin Cook, Chris Godwin, the first of the two Buccaneers. 25 is Jordan Hicks, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Jamal Adams, TJ Watt, Mike Evans, Tom Brady. To put Tom Brady's number 30 because I knew that he would be in the top 40. I knew that he would drop from last year, and 30 seemed like a pretty in the middle spot. on the lower end. Nick Bosa, Richard Sherman, Saquon Barkley, Quentin Nelson, Austin Eckler, Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Ramsey, Von Miller, Matt Ryan, and why do I have 2 Nick Bosas? One of them is supposed to be Joey Bosa. Yeah, that's my NFL 100 top 40 list. So if you guys agree with my list, let me know. If there are any players that I missed in my top 40, make sure to let me know in the comments below. Anyone that you think that I put in here that doesn't belong, then I'd also be interested to hear about that too. Matt Ryan, Von Miller, and Jalen Ramsey were my question marks. That's why they're so far lower. And so let me know. Yeah, let me know. Let me know. So thanks for watching. Have a nice day, and like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.